word in the Quran. Allah says there is one sawab for every word you just look at. If you read the Quran and you don't have the wuzu, again a condition. If you read the Quran without the wuzu, Allah says there is 10 sawab for every word that you recite. If you then have wuzu and then recite the Quran, Allah says there is 25 sawab for every word you recite. So you see? This is the recitation of Quran. But you see again, and this is exactly the same when it comes to all our amals. If you have the understanding, if you do all the conditions, then obviously you will get the levels of reward according to your action. Just to make it even more clearer to you, a man came to the third Imam, Imam Hussein alayhi salam. And he asked Imam, Imam, I have heard you are the most generous man in Arabia. And I have a problem, and I need some money. Imam said to him, I will give you all you need on 3 conditions. I will ask you 3 conditions. For every question you answer, I will give you a portion. So basically, I will give you 1/3 of the money you require if you answer 1 question. I will give you 2/3 for the second question, and I will give you the whole lot if you answer 3 questions. So the man said, fine, ask the question. So Imam asked him 3 questions. Again, I won't go into it. He asked 3 questions. The man answered all 3 questions. And Imam said to him, Al-ma'rufu biqadri ma'rifati. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives rewards to how much you understand. Again, with the ziyarat of Imam Hussein, like I said, these conditions do not apply. But again, there are the manners at the door of Imam Hussein. For instance, the 6th Imam has said that when you go to the ziyarat of Imam Hussein, go there barefooted. Go there in a state of hunger and thirst. Go there in a state of grief. Why? Because my father Hussein was in this state when he was killed. And then Imam says, I have heard, in a hadith Imam says, I have heard, when people are going to Karbala, they take with them sweets and desserts and good food, as if they are visiting the great one of their family. What condition is this? What sort of ziyarat is this? So my brothers and sisters, pay attention to these. That inshallah, if you get the opportunities to go to these ziyarats, that you go in this understanding as to where you are visiting. I remember one year, when I went to the ziyarat of Imam Hussein, there was this guy with us in our kafilah. He had come from the Turkish region of Iran, Ardabil. And he was what I would call, or you would call, a malang, in the sense that he was crazy for Imam Hussein. He was a butcher. By trade, he was a butcher. He had no knowledge of reading or writing, for instance. He was that sort of a person. But he loved Imam Hussein immensely. Immensely. I remember when we got to Najaf and when we were going to Kufa, we said to him in the hotel in the morning, he asked, where are we going today? We said, we are going to go to Najaf and we're going to go to Kufa first, and we're going to visit the shrine of Muslim Aqid. He said, I'm not coming. We said to him, what do you mean you're not coming? He said, I'm not going to visit the shrine of Muslim. I said, why not? He said, so long as you meet my condition, then I will come. We said, what is your condition? He said, I want you to go and find a horse. Get a rope. And then I want you to tie that rope to my feet. Tie my feet to the rope and to the rope to the horse. Get the horse to drag me through the streets of Kufa, then I will come to the ziyarat. When we said, why do you have this condition? He said, do you not know that the body of Muslim ibn Aqil was dragged through the streets of Kufa, tied to a horse? This is the ma'rifat of Imams. This is arifan bihaqqi. Yet how many za'is do you know like this? 20 million people have gone to Karbala for Arba'in. Allahu Akbar. May Allah increase that number every year. But out of these 20 million, how many have gone to ziyarat in such a state? Finally, my brothers and sisters, the biggest condition in Islam, and this is the biggest condition, and inshallah, if Allah gives me the life and tawfiq and the other nights, we will go into this condition more. But the biggest condition that Allah has placed upon Islam is the wilayat of Amir. That Imam al-Sadiq, or it might be the Imam of the fourth Imam, one of the two, doesn't matter, they're all the same, had said that if a man for 70 years, now look at these conditions, for 70 years, comes to Masjid al-Haram in the state that he is fasting, and he spends the whole day while he is fasting in Masjid al-Haram in front of the Kaaba, with the water of Zamzam he does his ablution, his wuzu, and he stands behind the Maqam Ibrahim, and he carries out his 5 wajib prayers every day for 70 years in Masjid al-Haram in that state, to the extent that his body becomes like a bag of bones and skin and bones, and his back is crooked from all the ibadat that he does. If he does not have the wilayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen in his heart, Allah will throw him head first into the fire. This is the biggest condition that is placed upon Islam, and like I said, inshallah, in other nights we will cover this. But today, the light of prophethood, the last prophet of Allah, the best prophet of Allah, rahmatan lil alameen, mercy unto the mankind, the light of the house of Fatima was turned off today. The Holy Prophet was lying in his bed on a day like this. He was breathing his last breath in this earth. We all know, it is written in our risalas, that if a mayyit, you see, you go past the body, or if you know someone, you go to hospital, someone is dying. It is written in our risalas that even a button of a shirt has the heaviest weight on the body of someone who's just about to die. So if you can, just undo the buttons of that shirt. Let this person die easily and freely. So the Holy Prophet is in that state. He is about to pass away. He calls Amir al-Mu'mineen. And he says to Amir al-Mu'mineen, go and bring Hussein and put him on my chest. Amir al-Mu'mineen goes and brings Hussein and puts him on the chest of the Holy Prophet. The Holy Prophet holds Hussein in his arm. He starts to kiss the forehead of Hussein. He kisses underneath the throat of Hussein. He is kissing the lips of Hussein, and he is kissing the teeth of Hussein. And he is crying so much that Amir al-Mu'mineen thought that this child in the body of Hussein is causing difficulty for the Prophet. So he went to take Hussein off. He thought the Holy Prophet said, you know, Ali, leave Hussein. I want to die while Hussein is on my chest. But Amir al-Mu'mineen heard the Prophet saying these words, Ma li li Yazid. Ma li li Yazid. Ma li li Yazid. The Prophet kept repeating this, and he kept kissing the lips and the teeth of Hussein. Oh Yazid, what have I done to you? What have I done to you, oh Yazid? Zainab al-Kubra was about 4 years old. She was standing in the room, she was watching these scenes. She was looking at Hussein on the chest of the Prophet, and she was crying. Then the Prophet held Hussein in his arm, and he said to Hussein, La yawm ka yawmika ya Aba Abdullah. There is no day like your day. Oh Hussein, the Prophet passed away from this world. Fast forward 50 years. Zainab al-Kubra on the day of Ashura, on the eve of Ashura, came to the battlefield. She was looking for the body of her brother Hussein. She could not find it. Finally, she saw that there was this mound of weapons. Underneath there was a body that was buried. Imam Hussein had 2 burials at Karbala. First, the enemy buried him. They buried him underneath all the broken spears and all the broken swords and all the stones and all the rubbish. Then Imam al-Sajjad came and buried his father again on the 13th of March. Zainab al-Kubra came, and she pushed aside and she dug out this body underneath all this rubble. At first, with amazement, she looked at this body. She said, A'anta akhi? Are you my brother? For 57 years, she'd never been aside from Imam Hussein 1 minute. Yet she did not recognize this body of her own brother. She became in doubt. She walked away from this body. Suddenly she heard this voice saying to her, "Oh khayya, ilayya, ilayya. Oh my sister Zainab, come back, come back." She looked at this body. She picked up this body. You all heard that Zainab al-Kubra, from what she saw on the day of Ashura, she had become very weakened. She could not even do her prayers standing up. She had to sit down and do her prayers. So how could she lift